call the meeting to order. Please rise and join us with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the meetings held on April 5th and April 11th, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. We have one person wishing to address the board on a non-agenda item. Chad Bishop, you'd come and state your name and address, and you have 5 minutes.
Good afternoon. My name is Chad Bishop. I live at 7405 South Valencia Drive here in Sioux Falls. On April 13th, the Argus Leader published an article entitled Sioux Falls Area Superintendents Talk Social Studies Standards, School Safety and Growth. I recommend everyone go read it. Quoting from a portion of this article beginning with a subheading, Political extremism has vilified some aspects of education. Some words used in a school district setting, such as equity, have become trigger words when they're meant to be well-intentioned things, Stavum said. We've been vilified sometimes for using the word equity, which for our district means having the same opportunities available at one high school as you do in another, Stavum explained. Let me pause there for a second. Vilify is defined as to speak or write about in an abusively disparaging manner. The article continues. She said she's received questions from constituents on the district's use of equity as a term, even in budget line items like equity travel, which is the money the district can use to help groups pay for transportation, for example, if they hadn't fundraised enough money to make it to an event. One constituent had made it out to be a very sinister sounding thing, she said. Unfortunately, we've taken some things and taken them to extremes, Stavum said. I think that's one thing that the school districts across the nation are suffering from right now, is the political extremism has vilified some things that are intended to do what we want in terms of how do we treat kids. How do we honor differences in our community and our family, whether it be by race, gender, or any of those kind of things? So I agree, political extremism is a problem. When I asked this body what it meant when it used the words equity, it is because we see it used everywhere. To the Minneapolis School District, it means they will lay off teachers based on the color of their skin, regardless of seniority. I was brought up to understand this is overtly racist. I don't want racist policies here in Sioux Falls, but in Minneapolis they call it equity, so I asked the question. In higher education at Stanford Law School a couple weeks ago, we saw Fifth Circuit Judge, or U.S. Court of Appeals Judge Kyle Duncan, who was invited by students to speak, denied his ability to speak by a Dean of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. The old school classical liberal in me sees both of these examples as regressive and illiberal. If you're embracing diversity, equity, and inclusion like that, how long will it be before you deny me free speech or the right to petition my government? So I ask you what you mean. It was a genuine question and I wanted a genuine answer. On January 31st, Superintendent Stavum and President Sarenbentz were kind enough to meet with Amy Bruner and myself. My notes from that meeting regarding the district's position on equity reflect the following conversation. I had offered a definition of equity in education to be equality of outcomes. I compared and contrasted that with the more traditional goal of equality of opportunity. Responding directly to that definition, I had understood Dr. Stavum to say that she did not believe in equality of outcomes, but in equality of opportunity, offered genuine and wholehearted agreement, and considered that question answered. Perhaps this was an error on my part. I misunderstand things all the time. But to repeat the quote from the article, we've been vilified sometimes for using the word equity, which in our district means having the same opportunities available at one high school as you do at another. Words have meaning and definitions matter, otherwise, best case, we end up misunderstanding one another. In the worst case, we end up with some kind of Orwellian newspeak. Thank goodness for the National School Board Association and their Center for Public Education. Who knew when they weren't requesting the Department of Justice to pursue parents at school board meetings as domestic terrorists, they actually published some readable material. Given that this body is a member of the Associated School Boards of South Dakota and it further associates with the NSBA, I'm assuming their definitions will be acceptable. Educational equity. Defined the word equality in their document, in education is achieved when students are all treated the same and have access to similar resources. Equity is achieved when all students receive the resources they need so that they graduate prepared for success after high school. These are very different things. Please forgive me, but it seems the definition for equity given by the Argus article quoting Dr. Stavum would match the definition for equality as defined by the NSBA. Perhaps the journalist misquoted Dr. Stavum. If not, can we agree here and now that the district policy is one of equality of opportunity, as stated in the article, and not equity? Then I propose this body move to strike the word equity from every administrative policy. Thank you for the opportunity to help resolve this misunderstanding.
Thank you. All right, we do not have anyone wishing to address the school board on, on agenda items, so we'll move on to item 6, approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes, and on to the good news report. She's like, I didn't see Deanne, so Becky.
Yes, Rhonda and I are Deanne this evening. Rhonda Iddings, would you mind joining me up here?
Oh, thank you.
Good evening. Rhonda Iddings, our sub-desk coordinator, and I are here this evening to recognize the extraordinary dedication of a few individuals with a lifetime of service to our students. And perhaps some of the individuals in our audience may recognize these people. As part of the district's staff excellence priority, the HR department expanded the employee recognition program to include milestone years of service recognition at year 1 and then at every 5 years. Our substitute teachers are part of this milestone recognition program. These milestone recognition receivers are found up on the screen. We are very fortunate to have 3 dedicated staff members here this evening representing our 700 substitute teacher staff members. So when I call your name, if you could please indulge us and come up to receive our token of appreciation. The first is Craig Eklund. Craig has 30 years of experience with the Sioux Falls School District. He's worn the hat of substitute teacher, education assistant, and teacher, and I'm sure many others in between then. Craig, thank you very, very much for your service. Our next substitute that we'd like to recognize is Diane Ron. Diane, please come forward. Diane has been with us for 35 years, and I'm sure you could write the book on substitute teaching, couldn't you? Thank you, Diane. And finally, we have Mary Eklund. We are recognizing Mary for 45 years with the district, 34 as a teacher, and then 11 more as a substitute teacher. Honorees, thank you for your time this evening. It is truly our honor to recognize you And as we often say to our substitute staff, we couldn't have school without you. Thank you.
Thank you, Becky. And thank you all for your service to the school district all of these years. We so appreciate what you provide for our students every day. So thank you. All right, moving on. We don't have any conflicts of interest. Or was it, we have part two? Oh, part two, sorry.
Good evening. My name is Boyd Perkins, and I'm the coordinator of fine arts in the Sioux Falls Schools. I have two really terrific items to report tonight. And first of all, what we'll go through, I want to recognize some teachers and some students for a job well done. We're going to look at some of the results of our state art contest, which happened in March, and I think you'll be very impressed with what happened with that. We also have a music program award that I'll get to on our final slide. So with great excitement, I'm going to bring forward here some of the awards we've received in our fine arts program recently. So in March, we had the State Fine Arts Gallery, which is sponsored by the South Dakota High School Activities Association. That runs at the same time as the state basketball tournament in Rapid City. As you can see up on the awards, up on the screen, our awards were pretty impressive by the Sioux Falls schools. Our team awards in that, we received first place, second place, third place, and fifth place by all four of our schools, which is very exciting for our teachers and for our students. And we have some teachers and students here tonight. I'd like to recognize them. Thank you, everybody. Yeah.
Maybe stand up. Can we stand up so we can see you?
I actually don't know how many we have here tonight, but we do have some. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
We've just had a lot of amazing things happening in our art department this year. I want to first recognize, I'm going to go ahead and go through these relatively quickly, but you can see there are 12 categories in the art area. We have teachers at Jefferson High School. We have Jackie Bilkey, Brittany Carmody, Holly Gregg, and Jared Holstein. And our students who competed in the state art show are all listed up there, and they have, even if they don't place, it takes a very big commitment just to get a piece ready and enter in that. We have in monochromatic drawing, Charlie Kolb, who received first place in monochromatic drawing and best in show in class AA. In colored drawing, we have Taylor Chesley, who entered in the show. In printmaking, Emily J. Johnson received third place. In painting, Claire Buskell received first place. In functional pottery, Charlie Taylor received first place. Watercolor, Solera Thepuri received second place. In crafts, Carl Meinberg received first place. In photography, Annalise de Jesus received second place. Mixed media, Elvia Hagen received first place. In traditional cultural art, Paula Cabezas Torres received fourth place. In 3D sculpture, Kalaya Miller received fifth place. In digital media graphic design, Bailey Buskell received first place. And also in another event we had in our state art wars, Kalaya Miller received the regional first place in that. And that's all from Jefferson High School. We have the finest art program in the state of South Dakota, and continuing on, we will say at Roosevelt High School, Al Costanza is a teacher, Lisa Dresch, Mira Medema, Aaron Nguyen, and Skylar Kidd are all the teachers we have at Roosevelt. And in monochromatic drawing, Lorelei Hubbing received third place. Color drawing, Leita Kambitz received second place. In printmaking, Ashley Prince participated. In painting, Jalea Kambitz received second place. In functional pottery, Ruby Gray received second place. In watercolor, Zuri Cleland received third place. In crafts, Sophia Talbot participated. In photography, Sam Schmidt. In mixed media, Kylie Gosh. In traditional cultural arts, Sadie Hunter received third place. And in 3D sculpture, Alexandria Brenner received first place. And in digital media and graphic design, Lyric Allen participated. Let's give those guys a round of applause. So fun to recognize our artists. They don't always get a lot of public recognition because what they do is generally not a spectator sport, but is individualized item. So at Lincoln High School, we have Travis Hinton, Susan Wegmeister, and Sarah Winterscheidt as our art teachers. And in monochromatic drawing, we have Chloe Seaman receiving 4th place. In colored drawing, we have Ella Ratliff in 3rd place. We have printmaking, Ella Ratliff in 2nd place. In painting, Chloe Seaman in 5th place. Functional pottery, Maisie Waldner, 4th place. In watercolor, Ella Ratliff, 1st place. In crafts, we have Azila Walpole. And in photography, Azila Walpole again. In mixed media, Jacqueline Picard, 4th place. Traditional cultural art, Emily Torgerson. 3D sculpture, Clara Carlson, 3rd place. Digital media and graphic design, Marin Gabramariam participated. And in other competitions, we have Ella Ratliff, who just recently won the Scholastic American Vision and Voices Award at the national level. 1st place in the United States. She will be going to Carnegie Hall to receive her award in June. And also she won 1st place in another national competition, the Stride K-12 National Art Award. And that happened about a month and a half ago. That Stride K-12 is a company that specializes in online teaching. And she also won a French competition, the International Maine Musical Art Contest, 1st place for the 2nd time in a row. And she has numerous other pieces that are currently in competition around the country right now. So like to recognize Ella Ratliff for her accomplishments on that as well. Finally, at Washington High School, we have Lizbeth Castro, Molly Potter, and Matt Schultz as the teachers. In monochromatic drawing, we have Emily Stahlberg. Drawing and colored is Nairoti Kauk in 4th place. In printmaking, Audrey Vandervorst. In painting, Nairoti Kauk as entering. In functional pottery, Raleigh Kusera. In watercolor, Ashanti Daldorf. In crafts, Emily Stahlberg. In photography, Addison Walt Van Wye. Mixed media, Faye Russell in 2nd place. In traditional cultural art, Audrey Van Vorst. 3D sculpture, Audrey Van Vorst again in 4th place. And in digital media and graphic design, we have Caden Knutson with 2nd place. Have some photographs of some of the works, and I'm just going to scroll through these. We don't get a lot of time to look at them, but I thought I would show you some of the examples that we have here. They're very great to look at over when you have more time to look at them, but this gives some of the recognition of some of the work that's happening, some of our wonderful artists. The one on the right is Best in Show in Class AA, black and white, monochromatic. Some amazing works. Very proud of these artists. That one on the left is about 5 feet by 6 feet when it's set up right in 3D, which you can't really see on the video. There's a 1st place watercolor on the left and 3rd place next to it. It's actually a dress that was designed and created on the right. This is actually a digital that has animation, but we do not have it on this video. And that's it for our artwork that we have for our wonderful art students. And last Thursday, we received notifications that Sioux Falls School District and community has been honored on the national level as a 2023 Best Community for Music Education. And I have a press release, a short press release that I will read that'll give more information on this. It's a national award and something we're very proud of and really speaks highly to the level of teaching and support that's been going on in the arts and particularly music in Sioux Falls. The Sioux Falls School District has been honored with the Best Communities for Music Education designation from the NAM Foundation for its outstanding commitment to music education. Now in its 24th year, the Best Communities for Music Education designation is awarded to districts that demonstrate outstanding achievement in efforts to provide music access and education to all students. To qualify for the Best Communities designation, the Sioux Falls School District answered detailed questions about funding, graduation requirements, music class participation, instructional time, facilities, support for the music program, and also community music making programs, such as the South Dakota Symphony Youth Orchestra. Responses were verified by school officials and reviewed by the Music Research Institute at the University of Kansas. Just a slight bit about the NAM Foundation. The NAM Foundation is a nonprofit supported in part by the National Association of Music Merchants and its 15,000 member companies and individual professionals. The foundation advances active participation in music making across the lifespan by supporting scientific research, philanthropic giving, and public service programs. We're very proud of our music programs and our art programs. So that's what I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Boyd. Appreciate that. All right, now moving on to item 8 on our agenda, conflicts of interest. We did not have any new ones this week or this meeting to look at. Item 9, approval of consent agenda. Can I get a motion and a second to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. Moving on to supplemental consent agenda, items to, or approval of claims to Avera Health. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes with one abstention from myself. And then now on to items 10B, approval of claims to Sanford. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion passes with one abstention from Board Member Ryder. Now moving on to the reports of the superintendent. Dr. Stabum.
2 reports tonight. The first is a World Language and English Language Development Adoption Board report. There's a mouthful there, and we have some good information from Dr. Boyson, and then we'll turn it over to Todd Beek for the last budget hearing.
All right, good evening. I'm here to present the K-12 World Language and English Language Development Curriculum Study Report. The purpose is to provide that information. It follows in the area of academic success. The World Language and English Language Development Curriculum Study began in the fall of 2020 as a steering committee involving teachers, administrators, parents, and community members met several times through the 2020 and 2021 school year to develop the mission, vision, goals to guide that curriculum study. And they wrote their vision statement up on your screen and the mission statement. And then we use the World Readiness Standards for Learning Languages as a guide for those goals, following the 5 C's with communication, cultures, connections, comparisons, and community to guide that study. And as we went through that, we looked at middle school, and we start there. The 7th grade World Languages Exploration class is an encore class offered at each middle school. In this semester-long AB course schedule, students explore 4 languages: French, German, Spanish, and the languages of the Osheti-Shakoween. The course is aligned to the South Dakota World Language Standards, and the purpose of the class is to identify lifelong benefits of learning another language, spark an interest in continued language learning after 7th grade, learn how to speak words and phrases in French, German, Spanish, and Osheti-Shakoween, and gain a better understanding of other cultures in the world. Students in, and that's our World Languages Exploration class, and then we have the Spanish Immersion over at Edison for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and students in Spanish Immersion take the Spanish Language Arts class
in those grades. And the courses are designed to support students listening, speaking, reading, writing in Spanish, and are aligned to the world language standards and the ACTFL proficiency guidelines. These courses are also support the Spanish immersion program goals for increasing bilingualism and biliteracy, high academic achievement, and social cultural competence. And that's the Spanish language arts layer at the middle school level. And then at both middle school and high school, students learning English as a new language at the middle school and high school level take an English language development course offered at 3 levels: emergent, intermediate, and advanced. And these courses focus on increasing students' English language skills in speaking, listening, reading, and writing. And the curriculum provides a balanced approach to learning English through authentic literature, informational text, vocabulary development, and systematic skills and grammar instruction aligned with the WIDA 6 through 12 standards. And so the world language, the Spanish language arts, and the English language development teachers reviewed and piloted several resources throughout the study. And the table on this slide and the previous slide outline the resources needed and the costs for the resources for 7-year adoption for those world language courses. And we continue that course study in high school. And so high school, learning a new language, we have 29 courses in high school. And so learning a new language allows students to communicate, interact in a multilingual community in Sioux Falls and the world. The Sioux Falls District offers various language courses to enable opportunities for all students, and it's a graduation requirement. A new exciting offering, we added 2 years to the American Sign Language. We expanded that to 4 semesters so students can earn 2 world language credits in a world language course offering. We offer 4 years of French, German, and Latin. 4 years of Spanish. AP Spanish is also offered at high school level. In addition to the Spanish course offering, students in Spanish immersion program may take Spanish immersion language and culture, AP Spanish, and dual credit capstone. And that course is a partnership with the USD. The Sioux Falls District also offers Spanish for Spanish speakers. This is a course designed for heritage Spanish speakers and students in the Spanish immersion program. Teachers reviewed the state and world ACTFL standards again at the high school level to ensure that our English language development courses meet those standards. And here's some more courses at the high school level. The world language and ELD teachers reviewed and piloted several textbook companies and resources throughout the study. And again, this table lists those resources and the cost for 7 years of implementation for those 29 courses. I'm going to skip forward first. And so throughout the study, that 2-year study, we start with a steering committee and then the levels work into their curriculum committees. We had 86 different individuals on all those committees reviewing curriculum, implementing that curriculum, and making recommendations. And so there's a list of all those involved. And so the total cost of the curriculum adoption is listed here below. We identified that as middle school world language and Spanish immersion language arts. That's the first line. And then middle school and high school English language development courses broken out separately, and then the high school world language for the 29 different courses. And so the middle school and high school instructional sub-level committees under the guidance of the World Language and English Language Development Steering Committee developed a curriculum to speak, read, write, and listen to another language. Professional development is also included in this because no adoption is complete without that professional learning that goes along with that. And with that, I'd stand by for any questions and ask for approval of the World Language and English Language Development curriculum adoption.
Thank you. How many students, obviously when you encore in 7th grade, there's quite a few and so forth, but how many students in our district are taking this work?
Good question. So 6,000 annually, and that is at middle school about 1,500. We have 1,200 ELD, so that English language development, and required from the federal government that language is supported.
And then at the high school level, we have 3,200 right there. So about 6,000 annually take the opportunity to explore another world language.
That's great. Lots of opportunities there. Any other questions for Dr. Boyson? Okay. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the World Languages and English Language Development Adoption?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The school board began its budget process in November of last year, at which time the board adopted guidelines and timelines. Between December and February, 19 subcommittees comprised of administration, professional and classified staff, and community individuals developed program budgets, which were then presented to the Budget Review Committee in March. The Budget Review Committee included 2 board members and representation from the subcommittees, including teachers and administrators. The committee met on March 16th to develop budget recommendations for the full board. Those recommendations matched the recommendations of each of the budget subcommittees. Since then, the board has held 2 work sessions. They were on April 5th and April 11th. The budget presented to the board is still being heavily influenced by the COVID pandemic that hit in the final quarter of FY20. The focus has gone from facilities, health, remote learning, virtual learning, and sanitization and social distancing in the early stages to instruction, extended learning, special education, filling gaps in learning, and raising staff salaries to keep up with the spike in inflation over the past 2 years. For the 3rd year in a row, the board has committed to significantly increasing the starting teacher salary from under $38,000 per year 3 years ago to over $51,000 in FY24. Between that increase and the regular salary increase tied closely to the formula, teacher salaries are slated to go up about 6.75% next year. The 5-year general fund plan slightly increases fund balance by $1.5 million in FY24, which includes a $4.25 million transfer from the capital outlay fund. This is in preparation for an FY25 loss of $8.3 million in ESSER funding that is currently supporting ongoing general fund expenditures. The projected fund balance in FY28 is about 7.6%. Changes in the budget that were presented on April 11 include a slight increase in the special ed fund of $62,000 in psych services. It just matches the level 4, which was put in there. The 2 just didn't match up. And then also there was one small change in the enterprise funds where the benefits figure didn't click at $33,000, so it didn't match the total benefit page or the total expenditure page on 51. 2 changes just to get the 2 different figures to match up. In summary, the tax-supported budget, that's the general ed, special ed, capital outlay, and bond redemption funds, they're increasing the total is $326 million. Our recommendation to the school board is to acknowledge the public hearing that we're about to have, and then tentatively approve the FY24 school district budget to allow human resources to offer employee contracts with the understanding that the budget will be brought forward for final adoption and certification of levies at the annual meeting held July 10th, 2023. Any questions?
Any questions for Todd? I guess
Thanks.
not. All right. We will open it up to public hearing. Anyone wishing to address the board has 3 minutes. We still say name, address? Yes. Please state your name and address, please.
Anna Looning, 4601 South Deerfield Circle. Hello, I'm Anna Looning, and I am finishing my junior year at Lincoln. I joined club gymnastics when I was in 4th grade. The summer going into 7th grade, I decided to join the LHS gymnastics program. I was welcomed with open arms from Coach Les Coyne and the gymnasts there at the time. Now me being a little 7th grader, I didn't really have the confidence in and outside of class, especially because middle school is one of the most awkward times of our lives. The opportunity given to me to be able to go to gymnastics after school and practice with the big high school girls greatly impacted my confidence inside and out. The lessons, sleepovers, pep talks, and just the time spent together made me feel welcome and loved. The gym wasn't just for doing tricks and leaps, but for bonding time between a senior and a little 7th grader, teaching each other about gymnastics, but also about important things such as school, manners, worth, love, and the importance of family, since we are one. The removal of gymnastics means no source for girls to show up and bring their talents, strengths, and personalities to the plate. Having the opportunity to do gymnastics gives young women the most important lessons, both physical and emotional, while going through one of the most difficult and emotional times of our teenage years. In school, we're taught to see both sides of a conflict and use communication to resolve conflict. The gymnasts are really confused on why this amazing program needs to be cut. I've heard many reasons, finances, numbers, etc., but the gymnastics community has rallied up and come with so many ways to fix those particular concerns. But here we are, once again, still not knowing the exact reason why this someone wants this terminated. Whose idea started this? Where are these people and why aren't they speaking out? What is their actual reason? Where is the communication that we are trying to use? We are all being left in the dark with no direction at all, and that is unacceptable. What would it mean for this program to be eliminated? Well, number one, it would mean hundreds of young girls floundering their way through middle school and high school without a sport to belong to. This translates into a lack of support from other women and potential sense of belonging, which was me before joining high school. Number two, the elimination of gymnastics will affect other sports as well. Most pole vaulters are gymnasts, and if gymnastics will be here no more, the amount of talented people joining track and being recruited to jump, run, or pole vault will go down, causing less attendance in such activities, creating a domino effect. It won't just affect all gymnasts in the state of South Dakota, but track and other sports as well that require the physical ability that us gymnasts possess. Just a heads up, when the moment comes for my future daughter to be able to participate in gymnastics, you bet the opportunity better be there for her and for all the young women out there aspiring to be like the women they look up to. And I know I can say that all of the women you are looking at right now wants to be that mom, to be able to sit where our parents are now and wipe away a happy tear from our cheek as we watch our daughter shine on that floor. Thank you.
Anybody else? See nobody else? Well, okay.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
Hi, Candy Bowder, 4401 South Town Park Place in Sioux Falls. I am the parent of a gymnast, or junior, who is a part of the Lincoln gymnastics team. She is not here tonight because she is involved in other activities at Lincoln. She had track practice followed by color guard auditions that are happening this week, and then she plans on attending Mr. LHS tonight as well. This is a great example of why club gymnastics are not an option for her. Jesselyn joined the gymnastics team in 7th grade and has competed the past 5 years for Lincoln. She also competed in that COVID year 2020-21 when everything was awkward and difficult for kids. You may wonder what I can say that you haven't already been told as people have talked about this program, but I can just tell you how it's affected my daughter and the things that she's been able to do. She's had a lot of opportunities by doing the high school gymnastics and not club. She's had the opportunity to represent her school doing a sport that she loves. She's had the opportunity to participate in school activities like the marching band and color guard. If you've seen someone doing tricks and flips in the Lincoln band, that's her. She's also a pole vaulter on the track team, as Anna just alluded to as well. And she's been able to use her gymnastics background in all of those areas. She's also had the opportunity to attend other evening activities at Lincoln where she can support her friends and her classmates in their endeavors as well. She also has a part-time job, and she takes challenging academic classes, including 2 AP courses this year, and also enjoys spending time with her friends and hanging out with them. And if she was in club sports, that would make all of those things more difficult. All of these things and activities are things that are expected of students when they start applying for colleges and scholarships. Those are things they look for, well-rounded students that are involved in many activities. Both her father and I know that she has been fortunate to have the opportunities and experiences that she's had as part of the gymnastics program. And we would love to see that continue for other students, even though she will have 1 year left. We know there's other young women that would love to have those same experiences. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Eric Van Beek from 4500 South Yellowstone Lane. Before I get started, I want to mention Anna talked about what it meant for her as a 7th grader to have those juniors and seniors be role models. She was that role model for my daughter this year. It's a cyclical thing, and it's a really amazing program in that way. So much more than just gymnastics. I just wanted to touch base a little bit on the perspective of the meeting that was held by Dr. Nold at the LHS library on October 13th of last year. I attended this meeting. Most of the discussion was regarding a solution, not the problem. Most of the discussion was about whether or not the programs of Sioux Falls should be moved to All-American Gymnastics. The meeting featured an in-depth conversation from both administration and parents about whether this would be helpful or hinder the program. We felt like it would certainly not help the program. The only practice options that were given us as high school gymnastics at All-American were at 6 a.m. or 7:30 p.m. Asking middle school and high school girls from all corners of Sioux Falls to drive 1 block short of Harrisburg at 5:30 in the morning in the winter is not a reasonable solution. But this is besides my point. This meeting was never a two-way conversation looking for multiple ways to save the program. Beyond the All-American Gymnastics plan, no other solutions were ever discussed. It was truly the admin reaching out. It was never truly the admin reaching out to work together to save this program. If it was, that would have been the first meeting of many. We left that meeting as parents and as supporters, just wondering if the administration, what they would decide for the future of the programs in Sioux Falls, whether it would be in Sioux Falls or it would be at All-American. Almost 2 weeks later, we were told that the programs were staying in the schools. We were very happy about that. This was the last time we heard from administration about the program. The season ended in February, and in March, we were told the program was being cut in the budget. We were never told that if we didn't raise participation numbers, the sport would be cut. Beyond that, if you think about this, the season started 2 weeks after we were told that the programs were staying in Sioux Falls. 2 weeks later, practices started. 2 weeks after that was the first meet. Even if we were told we had to make a change, what could we possibly have done in 2 weeks? Thank you.
All right. Is it seeing nobody else?
My name is Ava Knutson. I live at 5804 South Lazy Ridge Place. I'm a senior at Lincoln High School. I'm an academically ambitious senior at Lincoln High School, and I have been a student in the Sioux Falls School District for 10 years since we moved to Sioux Falls. I've been a gymnast on the high school team for 6 years. I coach at Wings 6 days a week, so I am speaking today on behalf of the Wings family. I also took time off of work to be here tonight. I'm speaking today about the incoming participation numbers you will be seeing in the years to come. Alicia, the owner of Wings, was a multi-sport athlete herself and a high school gymnast in Minnesota. She loves high school gymnastics. We love high school gymnastics at Wings. She has been deeply involved in the process to add gymnastics to the Harrisburg School District, and she continues to be involved as a volunteer or a paid assistant coach since the program started. I know it can seem like lip service when I say that we have a club that supports high school gymnastics. This is not something new or something that we started because of the potential loss of these programs. It's what we've always done. We, however, are only 11 years old, and you're just starting to see the benefits. We now have 70 kids in our team program and a 30% increase coming into that program next year. This is happening because our kids are staying in the sport longer because they can compete for their school, and we encourage it. Our club gymnasts at Wings work out low hours and are encouraged to compete in other sports. They are allowed to take time off in the middle of their club competitive season to compete for their high school at no cost and come back to Wings to finish out their club season so that they don't have to choose one or the other until they are ready. If they choose to do only high school, we offer, and Alicia personally coaches a class in the off season to keep them in shape for the next season. The numbers are coming. We had our first senior this year, Rachel from Lincoln, that started with us on our first competitive team of 6 kids. We have another incoming senior next year, Bree from Jefferson, from that same team. On top of that, another competes for Harrisburg. Another is a level 10 gymnast at Wings who competed for Harrisburg as a middle schooler, is a manager now, and hopes to compete again for her senior year on the Harrisburg team, all from the same first team at Wings. These kids have done competitive gymnastics for 10 years, and they still love it because they have the opportunity to do it on their terms, not the school board's terms. They don't have to be in the gym 20 to 25 hours a week, and they can do a sport they love at the level that they are. We have continued to send a small amount of athletes ever since as our program has grown. This year is the first year we will have 7 to 10 gymnasts taking advantage of this instead of 1 or 2. This is a trend that will continue because our competitive program has grown very quickly over the last few years. We're starting our first team at Wings West. Wings West opened just over a year ago because we outgrew our main location. Although this will take time to build, it will only increase the interest in gymnastics on the west side of town. To review the incoming participation commitment numbers collected sent to you in a prior email, our Excel feeder program commitments for fall of 23 to 24 will show an increase of 11% next year, 15 new total athletes.
All right, thank you.
Hi. Cam Hawks, 1010 East Sunrise Place, number 115, Sioux Falls. To continue on there, the 15 new total new athletes. Fall of 24-25 boosts the gymnastics participation by 16% with 13 new athletes. That's minimum total of 28 new faces and a 28% increase in just 2 years. Additionally, the results from the previous survey where 191 families responded, with 84% of these families indicating that their gymnasts will be participating in high school gymnastics in the years to come. I want to point out that participation numbers in girls athletics. If you cut gymnastics, not only will that decrease your total number in that sport, you will lose athletics in fall and spring sports. Cheer, dance, track being the main recipients. If these athletes go back to club at that level that they are at, it makes it hard to participate in those other school athletics. I ask the board to oppose the budget as is and ask for the administration to rework the budget with gymnastics included. We would also ask, what magic participation numbers do you want? What would you like? If we have that information, we can help drive that outcome. I can promise Wings will continue to be a great feeder and support to the high school gymnastics in Sioux Falls. Your numbers will only continue to grow. I would be happy to advise and work with the district in any way that we can, including offering our facility at Wings to no cost to the teams for camps and clinics to raise funds, as I already do for Harrisburg. Lastly, I wanted to remind you that there are potential college opportunities for these athletes, the acro and tumbling program alone being a great one. Kids rely on these scholarships. The acro and tumbling program is one of the fastest growing college sports right now, and we have our very own D1 team here in Sioux Falls. Acro and tumbling is a sport that recruits gymnasts and cheerleaders. For gymnasts, they do not need to be at such a high level of gymnastics. This gives high school gymnasts an opportunity to do a collegiate D1 sport. The head coach, Coach K, has recruited many members for her team from this area and hopes to continue. We sent 1 club athlete to the program for their inaugural season and have Wings Harrisburg high school athletes signed for the next. Also, one of your Lincoln gymnasts, Blair, will also be competing for Augie next season. A D1 sport in the heart of Sioux Falls should be something to consider. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, board members. My name is Angie Allen. My address is 312 East 20th Street. I'm here to speak on behalf of the parent group working to save the sport of gymnastics in the Sioux Falls School District. I am a former club and high school gymnast, a parent of 2 youth gymnasts, and a supporter of the great sport of gymnastics. My youngest daughter is 7, and I hope this program will be available to her when she is 17. As you can see behind me, this is a family affair. and support for the high school gymnastics program runs deep. At the last school board meeting, the superintendent stated to the school board members that they are being forced to make a tough decision due to budget restraints and participation numbers. The superintendent said, "We are normally in the business of adding, not cutting." We took that message to heart, and we are determined to lift this heavy burden off your shoulders and demonstrate that we have solutions so you do not have to cut gymnastics and take this amazing sport away from these deserving young ladies. The lack of transparency regarding the process to cut gymnastics has been unsettling. The level of misinformation regarding the narrative of the gymnastics program's history is alarming. And to force young women to come before the board to beg to participate in the sport that they love is appalling. The mismanagement of this process alone should be cause for halting the vote to cut the sport of gymnastics from the budget. It feels like the decision to cut gymnastics was a solution looking for a problem, that somehow it was predetermined. The decision to cut gymnastics wasn't made because the team failed a set of metrics or missed achieving goals set forth by the administration, because there never was a plan to help maintain the high school gymnastics program. In education, there's a plan and documentation for everything. Where is the plan? Where are the metrics? What was the timeline set forth? Sadly, we can't get answers to these questions because there wasn't ever a plan, or if there was, it was not communicated. It was a decision made by an undisclosed group of people without the input from the party being affected. Every time the question was asked, what do you want to see happen? The goalposts were moved, a carousel of moving targets. One day it's about budget, the next about equipment, then participation. Who knows what metrics are being considered and which goals must be met in order to save high school gymnastics? Why wasn't it put on paper? And once and for all, let's set the record straight on the narrative that gymnastics is in significant decline. Words stated by the assistant superintendent at the last board meeting. Since we met here on April 11th, we reached out to the local gymnastics clubs for commitments on those participating in high school gymnastics program next fall. The numbers reveal pledged commitments from at least 28 new gymnasts. Accounting for graduating seniors, there will be an 11% increase this fall, a 16% increase next year, for an overall 28% increase for a 2-year outlook. A 28% increase. The sport of gymnastics in the Sioux Falls School District is not in significant decline. It is in fact growing, and you have the numbers and the commitments that will hopefully allow you to cast a fair and knowledgeable vote.
Jackie Erickson, 4400 South Mountain Ash Drive. Hello, my name is Jackie Erickson, and I'm currently a freshman at Lincoln High School. I have been doing gymnastics at Wing since I was 7 and just started competing a few years ago. This past year, I won all-around champion for my age division at the state competition. So I'm speaking with some merit when I say how important this sport is to the young girls in it. Gymnastics has taken me through hell and back, and I am stronger for it. Whether it was losing teammates due to injury, and even one that passed away last year. Without it, I would not be prepared for any other challenge life will end up throwing at me. One of my friends on my team this year, who is currently in 7th grade, once asked my coach, why are they cutting high school gymnastics anyway? They said they have the money for it and they know kids are gonna join once they're old enough. My coach replied that she didn't know. The people that are cutting it don't even have a very good reason. A 12-year-old asked that. Even a 12-year-old can see how foolish all of this is. So therefore, I don't think we're the problem. I think the problem is the people that are running the school district, that are supposed to be running the school district with honesty and integrity, but instead they're choosing the easy way out and cutting a sport that means so much to me and all the other girls in it. Thank you.
Hello, Amanda Nielsen, 6521 West Urbane Trail. Thank you for taking a minute and letting me address you. I currently have a daughter who's in 6th grade, who was lucky enough to participate in club sports, and she really loves gymnastics. She's moved from a level 3 last year all the way to a level 6. She is looking forward to competing in high school, just like her older siblings did, and excelling at a sport that she loves. She has developed a community, a family, and skills that give her the things she needs to be successful and a good human. I know that you have budgetary constraints, I've seen that based on your approval. I also saw that you approved $9,000 for Latin. I would like my daughter to be able to choose the things that make her happy, and being able to choose to participate in a high school athletic sport is a lot different than being told no. I hope that when you cast your vote, you remember all of these discussions, you remember all of the faces that have spoken to you, and you make the best choice that you're capable for you, as well as for the girls and the boys that want to participate in the sport. Thank you.
All right. We will now close the hearing, and we'll open it up for discussion.
I'll start. Each year, the budget process gets a little trickier as we have to continue to balance the needs of so many in our community. We are all passionate about different things, but the biggest passion has to be educating all of our students the best that we can. This includes hiring and retaining great teachers and support staff, keeping buildings safe and secure, thinking of our most at-risk students and our highest performers and everyone in between, and meeting them where they are and helping them to learn, grow, and be successful. It is our responsibility as a board to make decisions that will be in the best interest of their greatest number of students. Through this budget, in regards to gymnastics, the gymnastics decision, we have listened to many speakers, we have read many, many emails, exchanged texts and phone calls, and met in person with parents and others. We have then taken information and questions to administration, talked through options and what ifs. You have sent us questions on Title IX, participation numbers, transportation, equipment, and more. We have heard your questions and suggestions and have had thoughtful conversations with each other. Ultimately, for me, I need to know that the Sioux Falls School District can fully support a program at an acceptable level on a long-term basis. After reviewing participation numbers locally and trends nationally, reviewing equipment needs and projected participation, for me, I feel like the answer for the budget this year is to not continue to budget these funds. I know that parents have said that money can be raised, students can pay annual fees or fundraise a certain amount, but for me, for a public school, we need to be able to provide a program at a level that is fully funded, not relying on parents, students, or private donors to keep it going, ensuring that our facilities and equipment are safe and our coaches are qualified. And unfortunately, I don't think that our budget allows us to do that this year or long term. As we look for funds to be able to continue some of our current academic programming and supports, I need us to look at ways that we can impact the greatest number of students most effectively with the money that we have.
This is really a hard decision for all of us, and I really appreciate all the parents who have reached and children who have reached out to me and to the board, because I know it's not hard, and I know that you feel that somebody's out here against you, and that's not it. I have really wanted to save this program because I think we as a district need to offer as many opportunities as we can as a district for our students in our schools. For me, it was really, can this be sustainable long-term? And that's why, for me, when I talked to, I think, Eric and some other parents, it was, I want to see numbers so that this program, if this can go forward, because the numbers were diminishing. And it wasn't, for me, it wasn't a magic number. It was just, is this going to continue going down? Is this going to plateau? Could this even increase a little bit so that long-term, I know gymnastics is not a sport that has lots of numbers, because you have, the 4 or 5 in each activity on there, and then the all-around. But I wanted to see that, and it really encouraged me to see the number of parents and kids who did step up to do this, because I thought, maybe this is something we can do with the help of this. But I was reminded by Carly that we can't rely on the parents for the financial. This has to come from the district. And when we look at our district, we've added now wrestling and softball and cheer and dance and some other activities for female participants in our schools. Then it becomes a numbers game of how many can we add and still do a good service for all of those things. So in looking at that, we as a district have done surveys in the past, and we've had as many as, I think, 80 or 90 students state that they would participate. But then when it comes to the day of signing up for the activity, there's 40 or 50 students. So I know that we hear these numbers that they're to come, but we have to look at who actually has shown up at the days that the activity started, and we have not seen those numbers. So I'm still, I wish we could find a way to do this, but I just look at the numbers that we have, and I look at I call it the financial lollapalooza we've had the last 3 years because of COVID funding and ESSER, and we're hitting this fiscal cliff. And this is one of those many things, tough choices, that we're probably going to be facing the next few years. This budget alone has $3.2 million just for reading recovery in our district. Just for reading recovery. That's not for students like many of you here that are able to read and have parents that are at home, they're reading to you. These are for students who do not or are not able to read. And those are some of the decisions we're having to make. And it's really, really hard. But as budget people, we have to be fiscally responsible. We have to look at the numbers. And I want to, with my passion, keep this sport, but I look at what we can do as a district, and it makes it very hard for me to make that decision not to continue it.
I just want to add that I can assure all of you that we have read all of your emails and all of the comments sent through to the board and Let's Talk. Between the 5 of us, I think we've spoken to many of you and taken all of your questions, and we have in turn gone back to the administration and asked them questions, and we have done our due diligence. I can promise you that. These decisions are never easy, and we've had to make tough ones in the past. We've had to close schools. We've had to end reading recovery, which again provided reading supports to our students. It's never an easy decision for us to sit here and cut a program, but we have to look at the big picture. And our big picture is that we are coming up to a fiscal cliff over the next few years, and we have to be responsible to the taxpayers of this community. And so we have to make sure that we do our due diligence and when we make these decisions. And trust me, they don't come lightly, not for any of us.
And I would just implore parents and family members and students, please look at, I know gymnastics is your favorite, and I know that's hard, but please, parents, be a good role model for your students and look and help them find other activities in our schools. We have lots of other activities that will continue in our schools. We want you to participate in those. We want you to be able to do that, and know that they are there for you to participate in as well.
All right, any other questions or comments? All right, we will take it for a vote. Can I get a motion and a second to tentatively adopt the 2024 budget?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Budget is passed tentatively. Thank you. Anything else for the good of the order? All right. Can I get a motion and a second to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.